that people are so generous and want to help other people. And we can do it with energetics. And we're going to talk all about that. If you're new to our community, thank you for being here and thank you for checking this out and making it part of your day and part of something that you may want to consider, maybe even as a new profession. So hello, everybody. And I want to make sure this is recorded. All right, let's go ahead and get the sound corrected. There we go. A lot to share with you today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ariel. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I've been teaching and training about the genius for 10 years now. And it's been a great pleasure and a great honor, and so happy to continue that tradition and share this information with you. So we're getting everything all lined up, and then we'll really be able to jump in with both feet. So I just want to call your attention to a couple of things here as I get everything ready for you. And then we'll get to our slides. Okay, this is the Learning Intensive for 2023. It gives us an opportunity for people old and new to our community to talk about the genius, especially because we have an exciting new version that we've launched in the last 6 months. So warm welcome. Thank you for being here. If you're new to our community or just new to our website, it's geniusbiofeedback.com. And I just want to call your attention to a few things. First of all, anyone can download the Genius at any time and then receive 14 days of training. So if you want to download it and you want day-by-day training to help you as you're going through this, then you can go ahead and do that there. All right, so you can sign up for the 14 days, and then after you sign up, immediately you'll get download links, you'll get guided as how to proceed. If somebody brought you here, make sure to put their name in the box, because we do have an affiliate program. We really do ask each and every person, where did you come from, who submitted, who shared the genius with you. And so we like to reward those who share the genius. Now, getting ahead of me here. Okay, we can just go one. There we go. Okay, so a few other things on this website. Actually, you can go to Start Here. And this is another place where people can read about the basics of the genius. So I want to know all about the basics of the genius. And so there we go. You can read about the basics of the genius. It has a beginner's download guide. It says who could use the genius, who's supposed to use the genius, gives you a brand new first starting session of the genius and how to get started so you can utilize that. Talks about some of our packages. There's just so many things here. Probably a lot of you don't know about, just super easy resources. Gosh golly, we try to make these resources available to everybody and easy to find. Then if people wanted to know about our packages, we do have February deals good through the 23rd. So check out the deals, the bonuses, things like that. If you want to share this with friends, you want to get the genius, anybody can get the genius starting as little as $99 a month. If you need to talk with us about the package or you have questions, we're always available. And we're going to tell you how to get in touch with us, but it could be easy as going to the website and opening up a chat here, and we would be happy to chat with you. All right. Now for today in the Learning Intensive on the blog, if you go to Learn and then you go to the blog, you can actually find our blog post right here. So here you can have our how to download the genius, how to learn the basics, and then we have some processes for you. So whether you're new or you're not new, you may want to download these processes. They're all free. And so we've created a number of different ebooks and processes that you can go to if you want to have your lungs, run frequencies for your lungs, balance your brain, balance the hormones, release weight, work on your adrenals and energy. These are all free. Anyone can download them. You can download all of them. You could download a few of them. My goal as the lead trainer in North America for the genius is every single person know how to use the genius, know how to get the things that they want to do accomplished, understand how it works, and then understand or be able to use it in the way that you want to use it. Maybe you just want to use it for yourself. Maybe you want to use it for your family. Maybe you want to make this into a business. We have a whole wonderful class called our Business Launchpad, where we give you all types of resources and brochures and business cards and training about how to set up your practice and how to be successful in charging for it with our subscription model on a monthly basis. So my point is that we really tried to give you all the resources. Like, this is an incredible tool that you're being introduced to today, or maybe you're refreshing for yourself. There's nothing like it in the world, definitely nothing like it at the price point that it's at. And I believe that it is the tool that we need in the world that we live in, because it can be a great truth teller in a time when we often feel like we're not being told the truth. And so you can see for yourself how much it matches immediately when you do a scan for yourself, how much truth you see based on what you know about yourself. And that gives you great confidence in testing for other things. And not only can you test, but you can run frequencies in order to change those things. So that's, not only do you get to see into universal consciousness and learn something amazing, but you get to be able to do something about it. That's the other thing in the time that we're living in, that many people feel powerless. I wonder if we can do full screen for this. This is a new present. Don't worry if you don't see it at the moment, you will. Just see if we can make this look a little bit nicer and more professional. So, this is a time when you may not feel like you're being told the truth, or you may feel like you can't do something about the situations. Well, if you go to my YouTube channel under Ariel Policano, you can see my name spelled here. Just look for me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, because we do lots and lots of free videos about the genius all the time, including my weekly training, which takes place every Monday. Every single Monday, you can come here at 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern time, and we learn together. You can ask all of your questions. But yesterday we talked about the Ohio issue, and we all were able to run frequencies in order to help people long distance, help the water, help the air. And that's very gratifying during a time when many of us would otherwise feel hopeless. So we can test things with the genius and have a greater knowing. We can run frequencies from the genius and help to influence and change and transform for the better the world around us. So I truly believe that the genius was a divine tool that has been given to us. And if not the genius only, then other forms of what is called quantum biofeedback. To plug this in while I'm talking here. So let me just take my camera off just for one moment. I will continue to talk. Just want to make sure I have charge. Everything is charged up. So this is a time you can ask questions during the intensive. What we're going to do today is we're going to go over the basics of energy and frequency, but we won't leave today's connection without my being able to explain to you how to get started. So my goal really, and especially with the replay and you sharing this, is that somebody could gain a general understanding of why does the genius work? What is the context? Why can the genius be effective? Why can these frequencies be effective? So we want to take that topic up and answer it today. And then just talk about the basis of energy and frequency. Most people don't know the ABCs of energy and frequency and how much energy is pulsating through their body. We've been given and grown up with a very mechanistic model that the body is a machine. And if the machine should break down, we'll just give some medications and restore different parts of the machine, forgetting that they're ever totally interconnected by this incredible web of energy, and every part influences every other part. And knowing that we're this incredible, streaming, wonderful, interconnected web of energy, we could seek to change and shift the energy in order to change the physical body. Now that is profound, that is amazing, because when we're able to do that, we have a very non-toxic non-invasive and probably more permanently effective system of being able to achieve wellness. And that's one of the greatest promises and things that people are excited about or even achieving when they get to understand energy and frequency. So a warm welcome to everyone. Remember, you can go to geniusbiofeedback.com, go to Learn menu, go to the blog menu. By the way, if you can't find that on your phone, let me know. Some person was not able to do the drop down on the phone, and I do want to know if that's the case with the navigation bar. But that will give you many different resources that we're talking about today. So geniusbiofeedback.com, go to Learn, then go to the blog and see the learning portal that we've set up for you, the learning intensive portal that we've set up for you for this time. We're going to be together for 3 days. So it's about 2 hours, more or less, every day. We want to take some volunteers. So if you're thinking you've never had a scan before, maybe I could have a scan today, then we're going to ask you just to put your birth date into the chat in case you'd like to have sort of a short scan and learn more about this. And anyone at any time who's doing our trial or interested, people who are new to our community, can ask to have one of our trainers do a scan for you. So you can come for a demonstration scan. So you can sign up for that at geniusbiofeedback.com. When you sign up for the trial, you will also get offers to do a demonstration scan, or just get in touch with us and say, I'd like to have a demonstration scan, and we can help you with that. We do have specials on the website. If you go to geniusbiofeedback.com and you go to our February deals, you can see all the packages are available. We'll come back and give more links to that. Those of you who don't know me, I'm going to introduce myself again, but I'm Ariel Policano. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I've been teaching and training about the genius for 10 years. And it's been my great pleasure to sort of help to assist the medical side and help to make product updates. And it's always fun to teach about the genius. So with that in mind, let's see if we can make this rock and roll a little bit. All right, so how about over here? This is a brand new system that we're using here for slides. So today we're going to be talking about understanding frequency and energy and the genius basics. So if you've ever really wanted to get started with the genius, but you've been intimidated, today is your day. We are going to go through it a little bit at a time, bit by bit, so that no stone is unturned, that no one's confused. That is the biggest obstacle that we face with the genius, is that the genius is capable of doing so many things at such a sophisticated level that it's very challenging sometimes for our beginners to know where to get started and what to do. So we really want to hold your hand, help you with that, and give you a way that every single person could feel they could tap into the amazing wonders of the genius and be successful. So today we'll talk about that. Every day we're going to give you something to do, an exercise, and several over the next couple of days that you can do at home. Come back and tell us how you did. So on day 2, we'll be talking more about the genius panels. On day 3, we'll be talking more about genius processes. We're going to dive in every day, talk about fun details of Nogiers and solfeggios and how to interpret the results, how to put together your balancing, what the main whole tray is, and all of those good things. So, get ready for some great fun. All right, as I said, that's me. I'm Ariel. I've been teaching about the genius for 10 years. A lot of people in the community know me. If you're new, hey, nice to meet you. I hope that I can help you to learn the genius. I'm actually trained as a naturopathic doctor, which means I went to a 4-year medical institution in Portland, Oregon, where I'm still located. And what I was able to do in Portland is learn all about anatomy, physiology, doing physical exams, interpreting labs, knowing all about microbiology, and then studying all the amazing aspects of natural therapeutics, things like homeopathy, herbal medicine, manipulating the spine, like chiropractic work. It's all in naturopathic medicine, learning about different supplements, vitamins, minerals. And then we were able to put that together and do clinical rotations in my education. So since I've been doing that, I've been doing a lot of classes on wellness and how to stay well, because I want to take what I learned as a naturopath and bring that to you. So we incorporate that into a lot of the classes we do on the genius. And I've created practitioner programs that are geniusbiofeedback.com. I've also created holistic health courses on dentistry, hormonal balance, nutritional wellness, like our high vibe nutrition class. You can find them all at geniusbiofeedback.com. Then over the years, it became really necessary to help you to create a business. What are the ground pieces, the structure pieces that you need to create your business as a quantum biofeedback or genius biofeedback practitioner? So we've done that. We have people who are very successful and they're earning quite a good living doing their wonderful sessions and sending the frequencies to the quantum capsule and really helping people out in the world today who are feeling desperate that they don't have solutions, and our practitioners are helping them each and every day to have better lives. So that's so, so exciting and wonderful to see them also benefiting from doing that. Like I said, the Genius is a crucial tool. Now we're looking at one of the screens in our Genius called the System Overview, and we're going to cover all of that detail. You can understand more, everything about yourself that you've ever wanted to know but been afraid to ask. What is going on in my body energetically? We don't call it a diagnosis at all, but it's an energetic reading. What is going on in my body? What are the obstacles in my mind? What are some of the emotions that I'm battling with? And it's hard sometimes for you to instantly know those things, but you could pull them up at any time on your Genius and get that truth telling, get that understanding. The very first change, the very first thing that you need to change is awareness. Until you have awareness of yourself, you can't take action. So the Genius helps to increase your awareness, your understanding of yourself. Then you always have other people that are probably coming to you, maybe your children, whether they be small or whether they be adult children. You probably have elders, people around you, friends that may come to you. Maybe you're that armchair healer that knows everything about health. People come to you, or you're an actual healer and people come to you and they're like, oh my gosh, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Oh, but you're far away. How can you help me? The Genius is the solution. And many, many people get the Genius, find that they have all these people coming to them and asking them to send them Genius sessions or send them frequencies in their quanta capsule, because once they get it and they start using it, it really works for them. So isn't it nice when people live far away that you could help them remotely by doing a scan based on their voice and their picture, and then you can actually send them something that will help them remotely in real time. I know for me, it's very comforting. It's very satisfying because we are all not together anymore. People live far away from each other, and during the pandemic, people couldn't travel, and something like that could happen again, or people are more reticent to travel. So we need a long distance tool that works in alignment with the true principles of the universe, the principles of quantum physics, that being we're all connected at all times. We're not really separated in the ways that we thought that we were separated. So I think one thing we've talked about in the Genius community that's amazing is that people get different tools that they want to use, different toys that they want to use, and maybe even different apps that they want to use. But there is one thing that keeps people coming back each and every day to the Genius, and that is a curiosity. Every single day, they are able to tap in and find out something new about themselves. They may use a new library or create a new library or find a new way to use it. And so every day they want to, like, what's true about myself today? So we find that the Genius is one of the tools that is used the most, one of the kind of bioenergetic tools that people keep coming back to and use over and over again. I can tell you for myself, I have many different tools and toys that gather dust in the corner, and they're just too hard to log in, boot up, learn how to use, takes time to do the session. This is instant and it's mobile. When I travel, go on vacation, I can take it anywhere because of my iPad, my iPhone. I have it with me. So people can also do planetary healings. We worked on the water in Ohio. We worked on the air. We sent intention frequency to the people of Ohio and all the people around, all the animals around. You can watch that on my YouTube channel, how we did that yesterday. And you can work on your companion animals, your dogs, your cats, your horses. You can clear your home. We have home clearing frequencies. You can clear the land. You can maybe clear the energy of your neighbor if you don't like them, and send them frequencies for their upliftment and their happiness. You can create a new career as a practitioner. So their genius is so fun to teach people to teach people and also introduce them to the genius, because it has all of these uses. It's eminently practical, and you'll really never get tired of all the different applications that you could utilize the genius for. So here's a picture of our testing panel for the chakras. So if you wanted to know what the different balance of the chakras was, or if you wanted to better balance your chakras, you could use this panel. And basically, the genius is a quantum biofeedback technology. And these types of technologies have been around for about 30 years now. And they started off in these huge boxes that you'd have to have the box and make sure the box was properly updated and maintained with the software. And they would have a bunch of wires around it, and then you'd connect it to your big PC computer. And then you'd boot up your computer and you'd boot up the box, and then you'd start doing your testing. And a testing session might take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, who knows? And so that was the original quantum biofeedback. But today we have a mobile application that's much less expensive, easy to take with you. The thing is, that's really amazing, is that all these quantum biofeedback technologies kind of use the same principle. They're using very non-invasive methods, usually the voice, the picture, in order to find out what that person's frequency. It's the ability to evaluate who they are as a person through the voice or through the picture, and then take that information and then compare it to other frequencies in the program. And then the algorithm compares your frequency with other frequencies in the genius that have been programmed in, and says, what is the relationship of you to those frequencies? And then through calculations, through algorithms, it says, okay, these are the frequencies that are sticking to you the most. For example, if we could do 1,000 muscle tests at one time, it would represent those things that got a positive response in the muscle test. That somehow your energy is saying very affirmatively, these are the frequencies that match for me today. These would be the frequencies that would be the most beneficial for me to have played for me today. Now, when we discover those frequencies that would be best for you today, we then can say, wow, if magnesium, the frequency that represents magnesium, is something that's really resonating for you today, I wonder if it's possible that you might be deficient in magnesium. Now, we can't make an exact connection between those two occurrences, that magnesium comes up on the genius and that you actually are deficient in it, but it gives us hints that we can take to the next level. So now we might have a questionnaire we might have questions to ask if you are deficient in magnesium. And now we ask the questions, and it turns out, wow, your answer to every question on the magnesium test was yes. So the genius gave us a hint that you might have been, deficient in magnesium. And at any time, the genius, it would be appropriate for us to actually run the frequencies for magnesium. That is a frequency that your body or your energetic field told us that you need. So it's going to have some positive benefit for you today. And that's what we've seen over time. So you can discover your energetic status, right? Energetic magnesium testing. Energetics often predict the physical. And here's something really cool. You often have things shift or change in the energy field before they change in the physical body. They shift in the energy field, which we're able to look at with the genius, before they change in the physical body. So what if we're able to now run frequencies for changes that we see in the energetic body, and maybe those changes don't end up taking place in the physical body? So you could see how fun this could get to utilize this type of technology and how practical it could be. The genius also acts as a stress reduction tool. In fact, that is the best way to talk about the genius when you're advertising yourself or trying to share what you're doing. I help people to reduce their stress. Do you have any stress in your life? I think today most people would say, yeah, I'm pretty stressed out. And so what the genius is identifying through the different evaluation tools, through the voice, through the picture, and the red and blue colors that we're seeing, when we see reds and blues, they are identifying stress disturbances. Stress disturbances, that means something in the field is disrupted. They are stressed out in some way that is being shown on the genius. So we're able to play frequencies. And the purpose of playing frequencies is to reduce the stress disturbances. So when you talk about the genius, your best bet is to look up everything that you can find out as to what the benefits are from reducing stress. What are the known benefits for stress reduction, right? Lower blood pressure, a better digestion, feeling more calm and present in your body, sleeping better, having less pain. These are multiple things that happen when somebody reduces their stress level. So your whole practice and your whole speech, your elevator speech about the genius is that it's a tool for stress reduction. Next question is, are you experiencing stress? The vast majority of people would say yes, they're experiencing stress, or yes to the question, would you be interested in doing something that would help to reduce your stress level? And then also the answer from a lot of people is yes, I would be interested in that. And that's all you really need to talk about. You don't need to make any claims about anything else. Speak from the place of helping people to reduce their stress. So it evaluates your frequency. Basically, it's taking your voice and it's telling you, it's interpreting it as a wave form and then giving you information based on the algorithm of the program because of its ability to compare that frequency to other frequencies. Okay. Now, you can ask questions during our learning intensive. So David is going to volunteer for a scan. I love it, David. That's awesome. We'll get to that in just a little while. And let's see. I'm new to this technology and would love to have a scan. Lisa will definitely try to do that. Patty Jo is joining us. Patty Jo is one of our longer term users now. Amazing. Probably have it for, I think, almost a year now. Does the voice recording have to be in English or can it be done in another language? So Kirsty G, absolutely, or Kirsty, you can absolutely record the voice in any language. It definitely does not have to be English. In fact, it doesn't even have to be the A-E-I-O-U. They could say anything for that 15-second clip. The reason that we do the vowels, and the vowels could be said in any language, is that generally they give us different intonations of the voice. But any recording of the voice will be beneficial. Okay, and good afternoon to you, Bonnie. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone. Check out geniusbiofeedback.com. Go to learn, go to the blog, and you can see all the resources that we've provided for you today. We wanted to make it super easy for you to download it, so we put it all into that learning portal. Now, we are live streaming this on YouTube, so if you have anybody that you want to see that, you could send them to my YouTube channel, Ariel Policano. You could see my name on the website, or we showed it at the beginning. And so send them there, or maybe afterwards, you want to make sure they get the links. So we're going to share that by email, but share this far and wide with people who might be interested in the genius or might be interested in doing something positive to help themselves during a very difficult time. Okay, now figuring out how to use this new software tool here. Okay, now, as I said, before the genius, we had things called the Skio, the Asira, the Zyto, the Cyberscan, the Quest 9. Now, some of these you can still get, and it might be something you want to have as an adjunct. If you're new to biofeedback, you probably want to stick with the genius because it is so mobile, so dynamic. You can program things into it yourself, which we'll talk about. But I wanted to show you this because when you think about the genius, you can think about it as a form of quantum biofeedback, which these are all stress reduction tools, and they all are able to tap into a deeper level of knowing. I'm so curious. I want to know, what are my imbalances in minerals? What are my imbalances in my emotions? What affirmations would be the best for me today? And the genius and these quantum biofeedback technologies can give you that information. So if you're a super curious, investigative person, you are going to love the genius because it can give you answers to just about anything that you would like to ask of it. But what I wanted to tell you about these systems is they typically start at 14,000 and they go up to 30,000. So many people cannot avail themselves to these technologies and because of the price point. They're also a bit labor intensive. You have to plug them in, you have to connect them to the computer, you have to keep updating the software within that box. You have to then go ahead and sort of log in and let everything calibrate, and it's time consuming. And I think most people right now, they just want to click it on and they're ready to go. And that's what you get with our Genius. And our Genius starts at $997. Our starter complete, which is very popular program, is $1397. You can get started with the Genius for $99 per month on one of our installment programs. And once it's paid for, then you're done. You don't have to pay it again. You don't have to pay a monthly fee to keep the lights on once it is paid. If you choose our installment plans, you do need to pay it through to have it paid off. But once that is over, we don't ask you for a monthly fee. We don't even have an update fee, which is really sort of unheard of in the industry. There are many of these different technologies, I know almost all of them, that either they have a monthly fee, they have to keep feeding the meter, or it's going to be completely shut down no matter how much you've paid in the past, or they might have a renewal fee, like it's just like maybe $200, you know, a year or something like that. We don't have any of that. Once you own it, you own it, and that's pretty amazing in the quantum biofeedback industry that we're in. Okay, now just want to show you, let's see, there's this aura, but I want to actually just go scoot back to the beginning here, right? That first slide. Yesterday, you can go to my YouTube channel. You can look at the class we did yesterday. I have to go to the live section to see this, make sure you click under live videos. And what we did yesterday is we took some auras of the energetic, sort of the collective consciousness of everybody who was involved in the train derailment and then chemical spill in Ohio. And we took their aura, and at first the aura was kind of gray. I'll see if I can get a picture, a comparison picture for tomorrow when we come back. And was gray and it was brown and it looked very troubled, especially the outer ring was sort of almost black. We did a couple of balancing sessions to send the frequencies to everyone, to the environment, to the water, to everyone collectively. And this aura that you're seeing was the ending aura at the end of our session yesterday. And you can see that by looking at the recording. Such a beautiful aura, clear of any black or any gray for the most part. It just shows us what we're capable of doing with the Genius. So many different applications, things that we can do. Okay, so now, like I said, the Genius is really appealing to people. It's just really this kind of really cool application program for I think for the time that we're living in. It's really a gift. It starts for as little as $997. Most people go for one of our packages, which starts at the $1397 because they get training, orientation, they get a book, things like that. The Genius works on any mobile device. It can work on your iPhone, it'll work on an iPad, it'll work on an Android tablet, and it even works on some Apple computers. So if you have an Apple computer and has an M1 chip or more, you may be able to utilize it on your Apple computer, because now those Apple programs are running what's called iOS, which is basically like an app, an application. So anyway, you may want to check it out. If you're just new to our community, you can download it on any of these devices. And there are some quantum biofeedback technologies where they actually give you a device, but I think that's troubling, because first of all, I want to pick the device that I want in the size that I want, whether it be a phone or a really, really big iPad. And then these technologies change so frequently. So you can just take the software of the Genius, simply log out, and then log back in on your new phone, your new iPad, your new iPad Pro, your new Samsung Galaxy, whatever it is. Every time that gets updated, you can just walk your software very easily over to your new device. So I think the fact that we offer it in an application that works on any smartphone device or any tablet is a real wonderful advantage, and it works on any Android or any Apple. Those are our operating systems. They are the most popular, which is the either iOS, which about 60 to 70% of our community is on an iOS application, but we do offer Android. You can even download the Genius. It's in the Google Play Store, and it's very, very easy to find and to update. Okay. Next slide. There we go. Now, what I really want to cover today is sort of the backstory about energy and frequency. When we tell people about the genius and they've never studied anything about energy or frequency, um, they become perplexed and they become very skeptical. And they're like, well, how could this possibly work? It works long distance, it works on the voice, you're not even touching the person, what's going on? And really, if we don't understand the principles of energy and frequency, that it is very difficult to understand. So in this learning intensive, we want to bring some of that introduction. Those of you who are practitioners can take this, hopefully some of this information, and share it with other people as well, to really demystify why the genius is able to do what it does. So we'll talk a little bit more about entrainment and coherence tomorrow, but for right now, let's just raise our level of awareness about energy in general. So the entire universe is filled with energy, and it turns out that it's much, much more filled with empty space than it's actually filled with matter or filled with things. So we don't realize it because in our waking consciousness, we look and it seems like the floor is solid and the table is solid. But if we were able to see it in a more realistic fashion, we would see, whoa, everything is just teeming with energy, and it's much, much more space than it is physical matter. So we're constantly, now not only is everything in the universe energy, but we are very much energetic, electrical beings. And we're not just simple machines walking around, and if the machine breaks, you can easily fix it. It's just all this sum of the parts. We're so much more than the sum of the parts. And in fact, what we are is just an interconnected web of energy. Our energy flows through what are called the meridians, or there's also in the Indian traditions called the nadis. So we have all of these incredible energies, and we have these energy centers where we're processing a lot of emotions, and that's called the chakras. And we're just all over, up and down from the tips of the fingers to the little tippy, tips of our toes. We are energy. And we are, because we are energetic beings, and we're going to look into this a little bit more in just a moment. But because we are energetic beings, we are very much influenced by the energies and waveforms around us. And that could influence us in a very positive way. When you listen to beautiful, maybe jazz or classical music or something that you love listening to, maybe it's acoustic guitar, folk or something. When you listen to it, you just feel transformed. Of course, we identify it as the musical notes, but it is the frequency of those notes that is shape-shifting us, that is influencing us and changing us in some way. And so all the frequencies now, people are concerned about 5G and EMFs, and that's another type of frequency, but that would be considered more detrimental than beneficial. So in this way, we could be influenced in a negative way by frequency, but because we are frequency and energy right down to our DNA. The truth about our DNA is that they're not static. They are an actual waveform. They are antenna that are listening to all the frequency around. And so when you listen to very positive words, oh, I think you're wonderful, you're so amazing, how lovely you are, all those things, you're starting to feel good, you're starting to feel uplifted when people say nice things to you. Thank you, right? I appreciate you, all of those things. And when somebody says negative things to you, we know some of the things that, people could say. You feel bad, you feel like run down, you feel brought down, people criticize you or insult you in some way. So immediately, yes, it's the power of their words, but the words themselves are actually frequency that you are being changed by. So once you learn this little trick about energy and frequency, you could make a decision. I'm going to listen to as many positive notes and musical things and chanting as I can, because I know that my whole being is being shaped by the frequencies and things that I'm listening to, the words, the notes, the music. So I'm going to choose to be around positive frequencies. And so that is part of why you would want to use the genius. You want to intentionally utilize these frequencies to shift you, to change you, to even heal you in a very positive, to move you in a very positive way, which can ultimately have an effect of healing the body. So let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Now, how do we know that human beings are radiating with energy? It turns out that you are a walking frequency generator, and those frequencies can be changed at any moment. Now, they typically get changed a little bit at a time, right? So your vital force might be really, really high today, and you're just ticking up at an amazing vibration. And if you drank a lot of alcohol or said a lot of negative things or did negative things, you would be bringing your energy or your electrical flow down over time. So that's another way to think about it. But every single day you can do positive things and positive actions to raise up your vibration and keep that electrical flow really, really high. Good food, good water, all these things, they ultimately are affecting your vibration. They're affecting your energy field. So how do we know that we're energetic, that we are teeming with all this energy? Part of it that we can see is when a person goes for an EKG, an electrocardiogram, which is a measurement of the electrical activity of the heart. So we see that oh, wow, I'm actually electrical energy. There's some electrical flow through my body. I can see it. I can see that voltage being measured as my heart, beats, right? There's a certain firing off of voltage, the pacemaker, then that causes all this electricity to flow down the muscular tissue of the heart in order to make sure that it beats in the right time that's supposed to beat in order to move blood around the body. Or you might have an EEG, an electroencephalogram. And what is that going to measure? Well, that's going to measure, gosh, is your brain firing off energy today? And is it firing it off in the right rhythm at the right time? All of those things. So we know from science that there is an electrical flow throughout the body, and this is what makes up the energetic field. Then in other traditions, other than Western medicine, we know of the Chinese meridians. So acupuncturists, what they do is they don't really treat the physical body per se. You might go in, I have an achy knee, I have a back, I'm not feeling good. And so the acupuncturist really isn't doing a physical examination per se. They usually take their hand and they feel your pulse. Now they're not feeling for your pulse in the same way that a medical doctor is listening to the beats per minute. What they're feeling in the pulse is how your energy is flowing through your body. And that will be the main way that they approach what's going on with you. Is your energy flowing, or is it impeded in some way? And if so, which one of the energy channels of the body, called meridians, where is it impeded in the body? And what do they do in order to open up the energy, to remove something they call stagnation? Is they use the needles, put into those little tiny needles, they put into the channels. And so they literally are not really working with the physical body. They are working with your energy flowing through the meridians. And if they can correct the energetic flow, all of a sudden you won't be in pain anymore. All of a sudden you don't have migraine headaches anymore. All of a sudden the cold and flu just disappeared. It went away. It's like magical. They also use herbs in order to ultimately change the meridian flow. So they're not really giving you herbs to treat the body. They're really giving herbs, or in classical Chinese medicine, they're supposed to give herbs that are going to open up these meridian channels. And we can also see today in something called Kirlian photography, we can see evidence of the energy field around the body and also around plants. And we're going to look at some of that. And we're learning today that there's a book by Mei Wan Ho, who wrote the book about water, H2O, and she's an engineer and wrote these incredible books about water and about energy. And she says in her books that she has discovered that the DNA is literally an antenna that is shaped and transformed by all the energy around it, all the frequencies around it. So in the allopathic model that we've all learned over time, right? Since we were little kids, you can go to the doctor is going to help you. The body is a series of mechanistic systems. So it's like a machine, and it can be treated with biochemistry, can change the machine, and that's all medicine. Western medicine really identifies you as, if your heart is beating too fast, we'll give you a medicine to slow it down. And if your blood pressure is too high, we'll give you something to lower your blood pressure. And if your cholesterol is too high, we'll give you something that could chemically lower your cholesterol. And everything is sort of parted out because it's a mechanistic system. You're a machine. So if your heart is not working well, we're going to send you to the heart doctor, right? The cardiologist. And if your kidneys are not working, we're going to send you to the nephrologist. And if your joints aren't working, we're going to send you to the rheumatologist, because the body is just seen as a series of parts. And it's kind of funny when you get to know the true nature of the body, it's an interconnected web of energy, because then you just sort of chuckle and say, this is so silly, because everything that the cardiologist does is going to influence and affect the entire body. And we need to really think about that in our approach. So are these really separate systems? They're deeply interconnected. It's better if we can utilize something that really treats the whole body, that addresses the whole body. And by working at the level of the energy field, you're doing that. Because as you shift something in the energy field, the whole body could come into balance from maybe just one single frequency. And it's very non-toxic. We don't have to worry about frequency interactions in the same way we have to worry about drug interactions. This is non-toxic, non-harmful. Any frequency of these subtle frequencies that your body doesn't want, it will simply reject and not take on. So it's a lovely way to help people, because you know that you won't be harming them. And that's something that doctors have to struggle with each and every day, because there are many unforeseen things that can happen from mixing drugs together. And sometimes doctors don't know or understand all the pharmaceutical interactions. There's unpredictable things that can happen from all of these chemicals in the body trying to do different things. Okay. Now, the body is really, when we learn about the body, and all we have to do is look outside the allopathic model to all the other indigenous traditions and traditions of medicine, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, all these other traditions that have helped to heal the body without these medications for centuries, and look at their philosophy, their thoughts about what the human body is and how to heal it. And we will discover we're an interconnected web of energy. So human beings exist within a network of complex energy systems, ones we should really pay attention to and learn something about in order to better understand ourselves and how we can keep ourselves well and maintain a high level of vitality. So the meridians, the chakras, it should be the nadis, the marmas, and more. These are all part of our complex energy field that are spoken about by different traditions. So we have the Chinese doctors that talk about the meridians, the Ayurvedic doctors might talk about the nadis or the marmas, and then of course we have the energetic centers of the body, which are called the chakras, and these are energetic processing places, often where we buffer things and process different emotions before they kind of hit the body. We kind of make sense out of the world through these energetic interfaces called the chakras. So energy in the body constantly interface with our physical cellular systems. So that's a really important part. Let me just read it one more time. Energy in our body, these complex energy systems, are constantly interfacing with our physical cellular system. So they're going back and forth, influencing each other. And as such, we can take advantage of that and use energy, use frequency in particular. And many people, there are traditions where they've done this, right? The acupuncturists do it with acupuncture needles or herbs. And even in the early part of the 20th century, about the 1930s, a gentleman named Royal Rife used frequency in order to break apart viruses and bacteria. And he was curing cancer all day long until the powers that be didn't like that he was being so successful just using frequency to shatter viruses, to shatter bacteria, and even to help people who had cancer. They would miraculously get better when he played them these different frequencies. So energy is causing changes that will ultimately manifest in your body. It's up to you, now that you know, whether you employ healthy frequencies or different methods in order to make sure that you're being exposed to or getting an opportunity to have really positive frequencies that you're interacting with, because those will ultimately change something within you. Now that you know the secret. Okay, so the human body consists of energy fields, and one change in one part of the body is going to affect every other part of the body in some way. It might not be obvious today, but there's some interconnectedness and there's some change that's happening as a result of just one subtle change. What don't they say that the wings of the butterfly on one part of the earth could affect everything throughout the earth and cause like the winds to blow on the other opposite side of the globe? So it's that way within your body as well, that just one subtle change could affect the entire body. And that's very exciting because it means that availing yourself to just subtle frequencies, less can be more. You may be able to heal your whole body with frequency. And how exciting would that be, that you don't have to risk, very harmful medications and so forth. And it's something that everybody can do for themselves and that they can do for their family members. And this isn't something that's theoretical. This is something that's happening each and every day. We have parents, moms that are helping out their kids with genius frequencies each and every day. And it's really exciting to see that in action. Okay, there's an energy in the body. It's been called the chi, the vital force, the spirit, that is more than the sum of our parts, right? So that is not really taken into account every day in allopathic medicine. So keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out, what does this genius do? Remember that we were taught a Western medical model. Most of us were taught that way. And so when we think about this, we don't really have the context. Oh my gosh, of course, we're energy, we're chi, we have a spirit inside of us that can go beyond the physical body, right? And in naturopathic medicine, when we learn the naturopathic philosophy, we learned about the vital force, which is also called the chi or the prana in the Indian tradition, the Ayurvedic tradition. And so this vital force is pervasive throughout us. We can do different things in order to lift up the vital force. And one of the most powerful things we can do for that vital force is give it the right energy, give it the right frequency. So outer influences can help or hinder that ability to maintain that spirit. So knowing about frequency and starting to learn that there are specific frequencies that could really change the body in a positive way is a tremendous thing to know. It's an incredible tool, and you can learn more about the meaning of frequencies. And wow, I bet I could run this frequency for this, or I could you could use this right frequency to achieve this goal. In the genius, we've been able to give it to you, serve it up to you on a silver platter, in terms of that you can test with your voice to find out which frequencies would be the most beneficial for you today, or for a loved one, or for a client, or for a pet. So you don't have to do all the research to figure out, oh, I wonder if it's 963, I wonder if it's 528 hertz, I wonder if it's 2 hertz. We can help you to know which frequencies to select for yourself to have the optimal result for the goal that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit. Have you ever had acupuncture? A lot of people have been to acupuncturists, but they don't really think maybe what exactly is happening in this engagement. I came in for my sore knee, I came in for my aching back, and then they came in, they put needles in, but they didn't put needles necessarily into the exact spot that was hurting. They put needles all over my body. What was that about? Because your acupuncturist is an energetic practitioner. They are not treating the physical body per se, they're treating your energy field. They're working with the meridians or the flows of the body, trying to move energy from a certain place that might have too much energy, where you have redness and inflammation and pain. And they're going to use the needles in a skillful way to change those streams to direct the energy to put the energy in another direction. And that's the whole purpose of going to an acupuncturist. Okay, so yeah, they take your pulse, right? They read your pulse in order to find out how stagnant or how flowing those meridians are. It's actually quite amazing. If you've never been to an acupuncturist, maybe make an appointment just for the exploratory purposes, because they're going to put their fingers on your pulse and they're going to say, oh, this is the kidney pulse, this is the liver pulse, this is the whatever it might be, the spleen pulse. And they can tell you all about these different flows in your body just from reading your pulse. And that is a way that you can get energetic information from the body in a skillful or clever manner. And there's an analogous way that we're doing that within the genius, which is we're recording the voice, we're taking the picture. And so it's like that pulse diagnosis like within the genius, because it's able to read the voice and the voice as a frequency, turn it into a waveform, and then determine certain things about that person's energy flow. And even within the genius, we are able to use our interpretive algorithm to tell us about the flow through the meridian. So we've had many acupuncturists who use the genius as a part of their practice, and they will often say to us, it's so matches, not exactly, but it so matches in so many ways the pulse diagnosis that I do. It's amazing. So if the genius says they have the spleen energy imbalance, then their pulse diagnosis also tells them that there's a spleen energy issue. But we're using the same kind of technique. We're working on the flow of the energy throughout the body rather than working to affect the physical body directly. And that's important to know. We really want to lay this groundwork for you so you understand why we're doing what we're doing and how it magically works. Now, have you ever heard of arnica? Many people today become so much more mainstream, and you've probably heard if you use an arnica cream or you take these little white pellets after you become injured, that the injury won't be so severe, you won't hurt for as long, and you'll actually get better a lot faster. And I certainly have experienced that myself, either through little pills or if I've actually fallen somewhere and oh, it's hurting, but I put the arnica cream on and gosh, it was gone in just a short amount of time. I felt so much better so quickly. So these substances like arnica are called homeopathic medicines. But the funny thing or the cosmic giggle about it is that there's no actual medicine or even a plant substance within a homeopathic. There are no molecules. What they're doing is they're taking maybe the plant itself, and then they're putting the plant into water and there's some molecules in there, but then they start to dilute it. And they call it succussion and dilution. They shake it to get the energy, and then they dilute it and they put it into a new little tube or container, and then they'll dilute it even more. And then they shake it up, succuss it, and then they dilute it again. And it's not until you get to the dilution where there are no molecules left in the water that they say you have a homeopathic. What you have is a true energetic resonance. It's just an energy signature of that plant. And when you have the energy signature without the molecules, that's when all the magic happens. It's an energetic resonance that you show to your energy field, and that is what causes the catalyst. That is the catalyst that causes the change. So weirdly enough, when you introduce the energetic resonance of arnica, which is a plant, and they did something called homeopathic provings all the way back in the 1800s with a gentleman named Samuel Hahnemann. They tried all these different plants out, and once they were diluted, they had different effects. And so arnica, the plant, is famous for when it's in its homeopathic energetic resonance dilution, that it helps the body to heal better. If you were going to be black and blue the next day and you took arnica, you didn't wake up black and blue. Somehow it gave it a resonance, a catalyst, a frequency in order to heal the body at lightning speed. But usually it has to be that the person has to be in an energetic state of the initial injury. So even when you have an initial injury and you have something you've fallen on, or something hurts, or something is inflamed, that in and of itself is an energetic frequency. It's an energetic state of being. And when you match it with the frequency or energetic resonance of the arnica, these two energies cancel each other out. And so that is homeopathic medicine, but it only works because you are an energetic being, because you are frequency. And that is why homeopathy works. It couldn't possibly work in the same way that medications do, because there's no medication in there. There's no actual medicine within the homeopathics. Okay, now there are some amazing pioneers that have done some research about the different energetic flows of the body. And they actually come from sort of, decades ago research when this first was done. And it's interesting to look back and learn from them and see what they discovered, because many people have no idea who they are. And yet they came up with really good scientific studies that showed us that energy does indeed flow through the body in a powerful way. So let's just look at a couple of them. One is Harold Burr, and he taught at Yale University in the 1940s, and he was able to quantify and measure the energetic field around a plant and around a person by measuring voltage in a certain way. He was able to identify these things he called L fields, but they're basically electrical fields around plants and electrical fields around people. Now, he was able to show that when the voltage got too low that he was measuring, that's when a disease state would set in. So by measuring, now this is kind of cool. And why don't we do it today? We are kind of doing it with something called EAV, electroacupuncture, according to Vol. But why isn't it in every doctor's office if we knew about it? We could predict illness coming on by seeing that the energetic electrical flow of the body changes in a significant way that can be measured. So if you really want a good diagnostic test, it's what is the energetic flow, what voltage is changing in your body. When the voltage changes in a certain way, we can predict, oh my gosh, we better be careful, you're about to get sick, based on what we know about the electrical field. So that's what he discovered. He recommended that doctors measure the change in these electrical fields called L fields to predict disease before it manifests. Oh my gosh, maybe you've been really stressed out. Maybe you've been eating foods, that aren't good for you. Maybe you've been exposed to something. And now if you could go in, the doctor goes, boop, and oh my gosh, your L fields have changed. You need to do something right away to get that voltage to increase. And who knows, it might be exercise, it might be dietary change. And then when you come back, the doctor could remeasure and say, gosh, your voltage has actually improved. It's gotten better. You're probably going to start feeling better because your electrical flow is no longer impeded. So here's some things that Harold Burr said in conclusion of what he discovered. The universe in which we find ourselves and from which we cannot be separated is a place of law and order. It is not accident nor chaos. So everything tries to move itself back into energetic balance. It is organized and maintained by an electrodynamic field capable of determining the position and movement of all charged particles. So he saw that there was an order to plants, the energetic field of plants, that there was an order to the energetic field of human beings, and that it fell into the order that the whole universe follows. And that relates to, another concept that human beings are of nature, and nature itself is a self-healing system, okay? We don't have too many cancers taking place in the forest, that when a tree falls or there's some imbalance, that somehow nature, the forest, whatever, comes in, figures out how to heal itself, how to bring itself back into order, into coherence. The whole nature of living things is that they work constantly to try to go back into balance, to try to go back into homeostasis. And it's because human beings are of nature, we are self-organizing systems. We're self-healing systems. And I know you probably will say, well, Ariel, then how come people get sick? It is because they have something that we talked about in naturopathic philosophy called obstacles to cure. And so if you're a self-healing organism, but you drink, an entire pint of whiskey, or you smoke a pack of cigarettes, that's obstacle to cure. But the minute you stop smoking the cigarettes, you stop drinking the alcohol, the whole vital force of your body rushes in like it's running a race, rushes back in, and all of the healing mechanisms start to come back on, start to switch back on, try to heal the lungs, try to heal the liver. But if we have to remove the things that we find, the toxins that we're exposed to, or the stress that we're experiencing, and then the body will come in to heal itself. Now, there are things that you can do with energy and frequency. A lot of the frequencies of the genius remind the body how to heal itself. They kind of lift the energetic field up and give you that power in order to heal your body. Now, a contemporary of Dr. Harold Burr, Dr. Louis Langman of NYU, examined over 1,000 patients using electrometric measurements of the L field, the instrumentation and measurement that was discovered by Harold Burr. And he was able to find that the changes in the L field and the electrical flow could predict whether women had fibroids or ovarian cysts or fibrocystic breasts or other issues. So he had this energetic testing apparatus in his office and was able to tell if people were about to get sick. Why we don't use it, it's not as profitable as doing all of the invasive testing and giving people all of the medications. But we do have things now like something called electroacupuncture according to Vol, where the little measurements, the probes can measure the tips of the fingers and they can sense energetic changes in voltage. We do that at a different level, really in a different way, through the speaking of the voice, the evaluation of the voice with the Genius system. So we're able to really sense a change in energy that's a little bit different from actual measuring electrical flow, but it gets the same result. We're able to see those imbalances and able to deal with those imbalances with the Genius. One more researcher that's of interest, and it really is fascinating to see some of these early pioneers in energetic medicine. So Dr. Yoshio Nagatani, in the 1950s, he was actually able to use different measurements to prove that energy moves throughout the body through the meridians. So he did these different experiments and he was able to prove, and his research has been duplicated today in more modern ways of testing for these energetic flows, and exactly what he discovered then still comes through today. So he was able to say, like the Chinese have told us, the Chinese elders or have told us, pass down this information about the meridians, but he was able to actually measure the flow through the body, the energetic flow through the body, and found that it flowed exactly according to how those meridians have been explained in the tradition of Chinese medicine. And of course, there's Kirlian photography. So Kirlian photography is able to sense the different photonic energy field around living things. And so this would be like a slice of meat. This is an apple, and we're able to see the energetic field around an object that's living, and also around, well, meat isn't really living, but there's still some energetic flow and it being shown, but not a lot. And so through things that used to be living, and also through the human energy field, we can now see that the human energy field is alive through Kirlian photography. Now, with that in mind, that we can see energy fields around things, around people, and understanding that we are so much more than just the sum of our mechanistic parts, hopefully you have something now that gives you some context about why, with the Genius, we are specifically working with frequency in order to affect the energetic field. Any frequencies that you are around, any frequencies that are sort of vibrating around you, what's happening is those frequencies are affecting you in a certain way. And the frequencies of the Genius are constantly affecting you when you're utilizing them in a positive way. Every frequency in the Genius is beneficial in some way, but it's really just which are the frequencies that you really need for today. And it's able to find those through your voice. So when you're thinking about the Genius and what you're going to achieve, what you're going to be able to do with the Genius, what can I do with this thing? What will it do for me? What difference will it make? Well, we know for sure that the Genius is a tool for stress reduction. We've actually studied it. Now, when you have something we might call them the reds and the blues on the Genius, something that's out of balance, we call those stress disturbances. So we don't say somebody has a magnesium deficiency, we say they have a magnesium stress disturbance. We don't say that their spine is out of balance, we say that their cervical, maybe C3, has a stress disturbance. There's something about that particular part of the body or particular thing that's coming up that is creating stress in their energetic field, and it's being revealed by their voice through the algorithmic testing within the genius. And we'll get more into that in just a little bit. But the genius will help to reduce stress in the field, and ultimately that will relay itself and ultimately manifest itself as stress in the body. So we want to focus, especially as a genius practitioner or somebody sharing the benefits of doing genius sessions, you want to talk about the benefits of lowering stress. So when you're experiencing less stress, less emotional stress, less maybe physical stress, right, from pain in the body, then you're going to be having lower blood pressure, you're going to sleep better, you're going to have better energy, you're being more focused, you're going to have better memory, and then the benefits just go on and on and on. There are many benefits of reducing stress in the field, which ultimately results in reducing stress in the body. So we have a pilot study that shows that the stress factors are reduced by doing genius sessions. The study was done in 2019, and it was done by the Biofield Center. And in the pilot study, we were able to see that by playing the genius frequencies, subjects in the study showed significant reduction in the stress factors that were measured. Now, many of the people who use the genius each and every day, they say, I kind of feel refreshed after a session. I feel more relaxed throughout my day. And the number one thing that people say to us is that they notice that they sleep better. If they weren't sleeping before, they do start to sleep. And if they weren't sleeping that well, they often report that they're sleeping more deeply. So that's sort of the number one thing that people tell us about using the genius. But there are many other things that improve from people using the genius that our practitioners tell us about all the time. We've documented those in our events called the Event of the Year or our summits, and those are available on my YouTube channel where we've recorded those. You can certainly watch them and hear from the practitioners. So the genius was utilized for one of our practitioners' dissertations. So Annette Landman did her dissertation at Quantum University to get her degree and her doctorate degree. And in her dissertation, she was able to see that she did a whole bunch of her clients. They all worked remotely. Every single one only utilized the Quanta capsule. And 7 weeks was the magic number. When they used it for 7 weeks, that's when they had their breakthrough of whatever it was, whether it was pain or migraine or stomach issue. That's when they had their great breakthrough. And what she found is that over all the population that she tested, that there was a 59% improvement in energy, which is amazing, and a 39% improvement in sleep quality. So we do have evidence that the genius is making a difference in people's lives. Now, since we talked for just a little bit over an hour, really about the basics, do you feel that you had any aha moments about energy and frequency? Do you feel like you have sort of a better perspective about energy and frequency at this time, that you could see things a little bit differently, understand why the genius specifically works at the level of the energy field? Hopefully you do. Now, since we covered some of those energy and frequency basics, let's really get into the genius itself so that we can leave today, our day one of the Learning Intensive, with you knowing some basics about how to get started on a practical basis with your genius. Now, you can go to geniusbiofeedback.com and click on the Start Here menu, and then go to the 14-day free download and immediately download this. There's no credit card required. You can start using it on your phone right away. There's no obligation. We want you to use it, love it, and just discover that there's no way that you'd want to live without it. And that's what many of the thousands of people that we've been able to work with over the years worldwide have discovered. Once they go through the trial, they really want to have it. And that's why we do the trial. All right. How does the genius actually work? The main vehicle of evaluation is the voice. So there's a very sophisticated voice engine that has been built into the genius. The initial, sort of the basic part of that voice engine was initially developed at MIT, right? Massachusetts Institute of Technology, very famous for all the engineers and smart people who are there. So that voice engine it listens to your voice and it turns that voice into a waveform that ultimately can be measured for our purposes in quantum biofeedback. Since it was implemented into the Genius was an outgrowth of another type of software. It was called the Infinity. That was launched in 2011. It was evolved. In 2016, it was transformed into what we now call the Genius. Since that time, the developer of the Genius has looked at that voice engine and been so obsessed with improving it, so that when you're speaking, that your voice is being listened to in such a way that's saying, what is the meaning of your voice? What is the meaning of your voice? And it's re-listening to that clip that goes through that 15 seconds. And it does an incredible job at really getting to the heart of the matter. Like, it really hears in such a way that it can then be used in the program to test for what those frequencies are. The upshot of that is when people test themselves and they look at the results, they're like, oh my gosh, this matches what my nutritionist just told me. This matches what my chiropractor just told me. It's so, really accurate for what they're testing. Now, we never say anything as a diagnosis, but they really see themselves and they see the truth that's being tested from this voice analysis. Now, many other medical companies are trying to, we're not really a medical company or quantum biofeedback company, but there are ways that people are now in medicine trying to use the voice. It turns out you may be able to evaluate the voice and find out what's going on with somebody's heart or somebody's thyroid. So everybody's trying to get into the business of evaluating the voice these days. So the Genius works primarily through voice analysis. It listens to your voice and then it evaluates your voice as a frequency, and then it compares it in seconds to thousands of other frequencies that have been programmed into the Genius. And it says, do you match with this one? Do you match with this one? Is there a conflict with this one? Oh, this one's harmonious. This one's disharmonious. And it goes through and checks and checks and checks and checks and checks really, 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 really fast. And then it gives you some scores. And those scores are going to be between 0 and 777. And the very high scores and the very low scores are defining the frequencies that would be most beneficial for you for today. So when you get very low scores from 0 to 200, pretty much, and higher scores that are from 600 to 777, which is kind of an arbitrary cutoff point that the developer chose. 777 is just a really divine, very interesting number. So he chose that number. So anything between 0 and 200 and 600 and 777 these are dividing points, the lows and the highs. That is going to show us the frequencies that if we play them would be most beneficial for you today. Now, for the most part, those lows and highs are defined by the colors red and blue. So we have really great showing all the meridians on this particular slide here. So those red ones there, they're really matching with your energy. So if you put them into one of the trays and play those frequencies, there's a very high likelihood that those would be very beneficial for you to reduce stress within your field, to help you to feel more energy, to help you to have better sleep, to help you to have less pain, and to help you to feel better overall. So that's really what we're doing here. And then the blues, the lowest ones, based on your voice, based on what we were able to discover, there's something about running the frequencies for the lung meridian, the gallbladder meridian, and the heart meridian. And when our acupuncturists do their pulse diagnosis, they say, hey, those are the meridians that I would have come up with from my pulse diagnosis, those ones that really need the most attention. So it's kind of cool that way. And so the reds are just a little bit different from the blues. The reds are going to be things that are going to be more acute. They've existed for a shorter amount of time, and they're more superficial. Things that are in blue are going to tend to be more chronic. They're going to tend to be deeper, and they're going to tend to be more long lasting, which is really the definition of chronic. But we don't use that to make or break a case. We always want to include our reds and blues. For people who are practitioners, who are doing this in a very complex way, or really want to get to the subtleties, they may utilize that and say, well, I see that that lung meridian is very, very low. So I'm going to focus on that lung meridian energy because I consider it to be the most important part of my case. So something about the lung meridian, I'm going to research everything lung meridian. I'm going to include lots of things that could be related to what happens when the lung meridian is imbalanced. So that's a more sophisticated way that somebody could utilize some of the information gleaned from the concept of it being red or blue. Now, green and yellow. We've never really heard from the developer that there's really a very significant difference between green and yellow. There probably should be, but we generally consider green and yellow to be equal and to be something that we would call balanced for today. Not something preferred by the body, not something needed by the body, generally in balance. Now, there's a little bit of another subtlety in that not everything that is under 200, well, that one looks better, but well, let's save that for another discussion. Let's let this go for now. So you want to focus on reds and blues in your balancing. Oh, I finally found the way to make it go forward. Okay, great. All right. Now, we call these reds and blues your personalized frequencies today, the frequencies that you most need today in order to balance. Okay? So the scores that are in red or blue help you to know which frequencies you would most benefit from today. You're going to place them into the trays and begin balancing them by tapping the play button. So you might want to get your genius out, get it handy, maybe do the voice and the picture, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. And you can even start to do the things that we're going to describe in this lesson. Okay? But that's the goal. The goal is to record your voice, to find the reds and blues, and place them into one of the trays at the most basic understanding of the genius. That is what your genius is going. That's all you need to do to make your genius do something positive, something beneficial. Get your reds and blues into one of the trays. And we're going to talk about what the trays are and what they do. So let's do that together. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, anybody can learn the genius. Anyone. You do not need to have a health background. You don't need to know anything about health. All you need to do is to be able to identify reds and blues and be able to learn a little bit about energy, a little bit about frequency, the different trays, and really explain to people like why this works. So if you can do that, you could be a practitioner. You can use the genius for yourself. You can use the genius for your family. It's really easy. And that's the whole purpose of why we have the learning intensive, is in order to show people how easy it can be to get started. So with that in mind, we want to start right from the very beginning. And right from the very beginning, I think this is in screen, most of it. This is what you see when you first log on to the Genius and you tap the icon. The very first thing you're going to see is this screen. And what we want to know about it is that every time that we do a new scan, we want to tap here, begin a new scan. Just this. Okay. And then after you've done your first scan, you want to make sure you always look for your record in this client records area. So access your client records, okay? And then if your system crashes, oh my goodness gracious, look at this. Hang on one second. There we go. Nope, one more. It's kind of advancing on its own. I just want to see if I could lengthen this because there's a little bit cut out. What can we do? We can maybe exit full screen for a moment, and then we'll come back to full screen. Everybody get your Genius out, get your Genius ready. Let's just take a 30-second break here. Get your Genius ready, and we're gonna continue on in just one moment. Get a sip of water. I will be right back. Okay, hopefully you've gotten your Genius, you've downloaded it, you're ready. So let's go because I'm going to be quizzing you about the results that you see in just one moment. All right, here we go. So I wanted to be able to show you this. Hopefully we can see. No, we still can't see that full part here. So that's good for me to know. So I'll have to adjust that picture. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now the reason that we have load current results is if your system crashes for whatever reason, if your device crashes, you could go back into the same session you were working on. But most of the time, you want to, when you do a new session, you want to continue with a new analysis. Now, up here at the top is a little button right there. So you would click that if you needed to log out. But for our new users, you should never need to log out. For the most part, unless you're doing an update, or very important, if you get a new phone, a new device, please log out, because deleting your Genius, and this is really, really important, deleting your Genius will not take you that particular access out of the system. So a lot of people will get a new phone, they're super excited, they delete the Genius, they send that old phone back to Apple or whoever it is, and then they can't log into their new phone because the device still thinks that you're accessed, even if you completely cleared, that phone, scrubbed the phone, got the phone all deleted and reset. It's really weird. You have to log out first. So remember, log out, not every day, but when you get a new phone, make sure you log out, and that's what that little button is for. All right, let's go to the next one. And let's see if we can go back to full screen. Kind of. Okay, so this is our voice recording screen. So what we're going to do here, in order to record your voice, it's very easy. You're going to tap the microphone. You may be asked for permissions. Be sure that you say yes to the permissions and don't bypass them. You have to give the permission for the Genius to be able to record your voice, because Apple and these other companies are concerned about your privacy. They want you to know that you're being recorded. So make sure that you tap this, and then it's going to record your voice for 15 seconds. The 15 seconds that's recording the voice, you're going to say the vowels A, E, I, O, U. You could say an affirmation, but for the most part, we're trying to get the different intonations, the different sounds of your voice. So you tap that, it records it for 15 seconds, and then it's going to give you some scores. And we can certainly look at that in our sample scan. And this is something good for me to know, that not always is it going to show everything that's on the screen in the full screen. So let's see if we can make this. There we go. All right. So we don't need to know too much else about everything that's shown on here. To get started, you just record the voice and just follow the prompts that take you to the next screen. It usually says okay, or tap here, and then it will take you into the next screen. So the next screen is to record the picture. Very, very easy. Again, we'll do a live sample of this, but I just want to show these slides. And what you're going to do is you're going to tap take or upload photo, and it'll give you an opportunity to utilize your own device to take your picture. Usually you have to tap one button to make it turn so it's a selfie. You take that picture of yourself, and then again, it will give you an opportunity to analyze the image. You could also use a picture that you have. The better thing to do is to take the newest picture that you can, a current picture, because that's going to reflect your current energy field, your current state of energy. Okay, now once you do that, you will be taken into a screen after you finish. And once again, let's see if I can do full screen. Okay, that's so much better. Okay, perfect. So I wanted to give you a view that was big, where you can see stuff. And so the first screen that you come into is called the system overview. So the system overview has 27 wellness panels and the aura screen. So I didn't count that one, but it's 27 what I call wellness panels, and then the aura and analysis. And so this is the very first part of your scan, and it's broken up into body, mind, and biofield. So things that would be tested energetically to reflect parts of the physical body, things that would be maybe mind, mental things, and then biofield, things that would be of the energy field. So things like meridians and so forth. So that's why it's broken up into 3 different parts. And it's instantly going to tell you the reds and blues and those different body, mind, and biofield. And then you can look and you can view and you can be like, oh, wow, those are where my imbalances are today. That's really interesting. Something about minerals, something about today's stress, something about herbs. The program is kind of compelling me to look in that screen and search further and find out where those imbalances are. So that's really what it's revealing in the system overview. Now, once we do a balancing, we're going to get a result, which is called a rectification. And a rectification is sort of like, has your body been able to make sense out of those particular frequencies? So has it actually achieved the goal of what you set out to do by running those frequencies? It's going to tell you how much you've been able to take in, how much progress that you've been able to make with those frequencies. For whatever reason, the developer chose to make it a very low threshold. So you only need to get to 40% or more in order for you to determine that you've made a positive impact or been able to benefit from those frequencies. So if your scan shows 40% or greater on the average rectification, it's just being covered up right by now by, unfortunately, but with the slides. But an average rectification of 40% or more means you can choose new frequencies. You could go on to other things. You could try to get a higher percentage, but sometimes it actually goes lower. So all you need to do is 40% or more in rectification to know that you've been successful with that series of frequencies. All right, so right here. Then another screen we're going to look at before we finish today is called the general overview. We'll do a sample. We'll do one of our volunteers in order to work with one of our volunteers in order to show this. But I really wanted you to learn this one exercise today in the general overview. What it does is it takes all of the 27 wellness panels and it stacks them up from highest to lowest. So now you know in a very short amount of time which were the frequencies that were like the top 10 highest frequency in the entire scan. And then you can tap one button, you can learn what are the lowest or the most lowest scoring items in the entire program very, very quickly. And there's a function that you just tap a button, we're going to show it, that allows you to take the top highest frequency and then the lowest frequency, so the top red frequencies and the lowest blue frequencies, and instantly put them into your tray and then balance with them. So we're going to show those. I want you to learn that because it's going to be the easiest way that you could get started, because otherwise it's confusing. What do I put in the tray? This is going to be very easy, and you could do balancing all day long with your top 50 and low 50. Put them into the main whole tray and balance, and you can learn a lot about yourself, and you can feel like you're very successful in a very short amount of time. Now, I want to tell you about the different trays. So we're going to show them opening and closing, but pretty much when you tap, see if we get that spotlight. When you tap down here on this little sort of triangle, it's going to actually open a tray. So you can imagine a tray being filled with maybe supplements or herbs or something like that. And so here our trays are something that we fill up with frequencies and energies. And so we're able to open that tray up. And when we open the tray, it will show this. And it'll show us all the frequencies that are in the tray. We call this tray where we put many frequencies that are of different categories. Some might be from the mind, some might be minerals, some might be vitamins, some might be from the spinal energy, anything we want, all types of different topics. We put them into the main whole tray because we're going to further analyze them in another screen. So when you just want to like sort of, get a big slice, of sort of everything that's going on, you're going to choose the main whole tray. And you can just load it up with all the frequencies that you're curious about, that you want to learn more about. Just load them all up into the main whole tray. So for now, we're going to put those top 50 items and lower 50 items into the main whole tray in just one moment, as soon as we get our volunteer for today. Now in this one, we're showing if we would go up here and we would tap on this button, it would open up the quick zap tray. So the quick zap tray is when you already know what you want to balance and you want to balance just a few things. For example, with the solfeggios, those are something that all the tones together, when they're taken together, they're incredibly healing. You can read all about the solfeggios. We have it in our mastery guide, or you could read online. Like the solfeggio frequencies are amazing. They are these sacred tones that used to be our musical scale. So if you've ever heard Gregorian chanting and how soothing and calming that is, it's because of the scale, because of those notes, when they're taken together, they create different types of positive benefits for human health. Now, why isn't all of our music today in that scale? That's another discussion for another day. It's a complete conspiracy theory about why. But what you could do is, if you wanted to wake up every day and do a little tonic wellness session for yourself, you could go to the solfeggio screen and gather up all 9 of the solfeggios into your quick zap tray. Close the tray, set the timer, which is going to be right here. Maybe you want to do it for 15 minutes right in the middle. And then maybe you're meditating, or maybe you're making breakfast, or you're doing yoga. You could be playing these solfeggio frequencies while you're doing that other thing, or just enjoying them, sitting and listening to them, you know, on your couch or whatever it might be. So that's the quick zap tray. So quick zap, short, focused, balancing with just a few frequencies, or a few frequencies of a certain variety or a certain category to reach a certain goal. But when you're really trying to sort of cast a wide net, I don't really know what's going on, I'm just going to do all of these categories together. You put them in the main whole tray, because you're going to be able to distill those down in a special screen that we call our progressive insights. Okay, and there's actually a third mystery tray, which is called our quick balance. So our quick balance is an auto balance. You may have never seen it, but of course that little springy arrow is pointing to this one right here. And when you use the function at the bottom, which is called quick balance, it actually relates to this timer right here. So you can pull the timer up or down. It's obviously vertical timer, and it's going to pull all of the reds and all of the blues from the screen that you're looking at. It doesn't really pull them anywhere, it just balances them. So let me say it again, quick balance, when you tap quick balance, which is sort of a little fuzzy, but it's at the bottom, you'll always see at the bottom of every screen, it will automatically balance the reds and the blues that are on that screen. So even though I can't see the blues on this particular screen, it will automatically balance all the red items and all the blue items by clicking quick balance. Now, this is another beginner tip for you. If you're confused about what to do, go to any screen on the Genius and tap maybe 5 minutes with that little timer that the arrow keeps going to, and then go ahead and hit quick balance for any screen. That way it'll give you confidence that you could actually do anything on the Genius. Hey, I don't really know what to do, but I like this screen. I think it's interesting. I'm going to hit quick balance for 5 minutes. And then you go to another screen and hit quick balance for 5 minutes. So it's another great learning tool. It's something that's easy to get started with. All right, so let's begin our balancing. So for those of you who ever started the Genius, you didn't quite get there, or you're interested in trying it again, or you're even an old time user, you can do this exercise and get a lot of satisfaction out of it. If you're busy, you don't want to use your brain, you don't want to think about what libraries you could need, then just do this exercise. So we're going to set up a session. We're going to go to System Overview. We're going to tap on System Overview just once in order to arrive at the General Overview. And then we're going to choose this plus button right here. And when we tap that plus button, it's going to reveal to us words that say blue, red, green, yellow. And then at the bottom, we're like startled. It says top 50 and something like the lower 50. So let's see if we can get there. Okay, so we're going to do this in real time by taking a volunteer. And I'm not sure if any of our volunteers, we lost a few people because they're a little bit like almost 2 hours now. We're going to try to end up at the top of the hour. But let's see if we can get somebody to join us from our participants. So let's see who we still have with us getting towards the end of the second hour. Okay, David, you're still with us. So we're going to invite you up here as a panelist. Oh, did we not? Maybe we don't have David. Oh, there he is. Yep, he raised his hand. Okay, fantastic. Fabulous. Yeah. Let me just promote you to a panelist here and you can join us. And then we're going to do a scan for you. And so fantastic. And I think you're a Genius owner, that you've had the Genius for a while, if I recall. And if you guys have questions that you want to ask, now is a great time to ask your questions. Now, what am I doing that's not cooperating? All right. So I just wanted to remind you while we're getting this ready for, because I'm going to have to record his voice and picture offline here. So I'm going to be using my Genius on my iPad Pro right here, getting ready to work with David. Hopefully he'll be somewhere soon. And I'm going to, on my device here, I'm going to enter his name. I think he's been using it for a little while. I think you're an owner of the Genius, if I recall. And let's go ahead and look at that QA again. And we get his date of birth. So I'm going to do that offline because I'm a little worried about the recording on the Zoom. Okay. Hey, David, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having this program.
I hope it's helpful. Did you learn anything new, or did you know everything that we went over?
You're refreshing some of it. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know. All right, so we've got you sort of entered in here in the Genius, and you're a Genius owner, right?
Correct.
Fantastic. How long have you had the Genius for?
First of the month.
Oh, you're new. You're pretty new. Okay, that's great. And you already know so much. That's awesome. All right, well, now I am going to record your voice. What should we work on for you today? Should we work on energy, mood? What should we work on?
Energy.
Energy. Okay, fantastic. All right, well, I am going to, in just a moment, I'm going to record your voice. So you say the A-E-I-O-U for the 15-second clip, and you could say an affirmation if you want to. I'll start recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
A-E-I-O-U. David Allen Benson. A-E-I-O-U. 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 A-E-I-O-U.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next screen. And David, when you use your Genius, is it on an iPhone, a Samsung, an Android? Like, how do you use your Genius?
iPhone.
iPhone. That's what the majority of our folks use, it on an Apple device. So absolutely fantastic. We're going to take your picture in just a moment here. So I got to get all my ducks in a row, get you all set up. And there we go. You're really in a shadow though. That's so funny.
Okay.
There, that's much better. Okay, right there, smile. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, that is great. Where are you joining us from today?
Harrisburg, North Carolina.
All right, well, how are things in Harrisburg today?
I should say hot, because it's going to be 75 degrees and they're shooting for 80 by Thursday.
Is that typical around this time of year? Does it start to get warmer already?
No, 50 degrees is normal.
Oh my gosh, now do you guys worry about the Ohio situation as far away as you are, or you don't really spend too much time considering that?
No, we don't spend much time considering, but I do have friends living in Ohio, so they are concerned. Yeah.
Totally understand that. Well, I'm glad that you're safe where you are. That's really good to know. All right, well, we've got our genius up and running here, and I am going to work on energy for you. So we are going to let you just sit back and relax, but I am going to check in with you as we go through this in just a little bit. Is that okay?
That's fine. Yep.
All right, David, thank you.
You're welcome.
Fabulous. I love having our genius community join us. Like, it's a very wonderful thing, and having our folks volunteer. So we get to work with David. Of course, it's the male animation versus the female animation of the client is going to be pictured on there. And so we're going to talk about this exercise. We want to sort of finish up by the top of the hour. But when I look at this, I basically go, okay, that's interesting. Neurotransmitters, brain EEG. Then he's really drawn to essential oils, might be something that he really resonates with. There might be some type of underlying infection, something like that. Or maybe he interacted with somebody who was sick. It just might be a passing thing. A lot of things on the genius could be things that could be cleared out pretty quickly. And then we see vitamins, today's stress. And let's go ahead and take a look at that aura. This is always fun on the genius to get to analyze the aura and to take a look at it. That's always great fun. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let's see what's up with the aura. So let's go ahead and take a look. And we see with the aura, which is taking into account all the different potential colors and layers of the aura, what might be in there. Very interesting. Wow, fascinating. Look at that bright green. So green is associated with the heart, it's associated with the fourth chakra, but it's bright. You kind of see that in his spirit. He's got this really strong constitution that kind of comes through, and you almost really recognize that in that really bright light coming through the aura here. And then in the center, this is going to be probably related to third chakra, so solar plexus. It could be related to digestion or pancreas or things like that. Beautiful sort of second chakra, very nice orange coming through here. Got some blue, that's going to be throat chakra. And what you do see in the aura is a little bit of fuzziness and all of that. We'd like to see that clear up as we go through our session. So it's brighter and it doesn't have sort of that, it almost reminds me of a little bit of static. And so that static is going to kind of percolate off, and we'll see things come through more clear and more crisp. That's the goal anyway. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go out here. Now, I just want to focus on this exercise with you, and then we're going to answer any questions that you have or look at the chat and so forth. And then we'll be ready to wrap things up. And we're going to be back tomorrow where we're going to go more in depth into the different panels. So if you want to know about the solfeggios, the nogies, some of the different lesser known panels, know about the meridians, what to do with spinal energy, you're going to want to join me tomorrow. We're going to get into that and more processes, more how to do this in order to achieve that. So that is coming up tomorrow. And then we're going to do even more processes on Thursday. So I really want you to come out of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as a beginner or even a seasoned user of the genius and learn something new, something that you finally say, oh my gosh, now I get it. Now it makes sense to me. That's what we really want to do, because we want everybody to use this every day and use it with ease and with confidence. Now, with that in mind, what we're going to do right now is show you this very easy way to get started. Every single person can do this, so pay close attention. Okay, there we go. We're going to go to System Overview. See how it says System Overview? We're going to tap right on System Overview. There we go. Tap, tap, tap. And now it brings us to General Overview. In the General Overview, we're going to begin the analysis, and I have to do something that you might not have on yours. So I'm instantly going to remove these libraries. I don't want to do that today because I want my system to be the same as your system. If you're starting out on your trial, you don't have these things called libraries, which we'll talk about later, not today. Okay, now this is so cool. So what it's going to do is it's going to show us the very top items at the very tippy top that are coming up for David today. So this is really fun. So it instantly gives us all the very top items. So it's telling us things like the flower essence, impatiens, sort of coming back to the energy of love. That means he's moving into that wonderful energy, aligning with the energy of love. Platonic solids, the sacred geometric energy, wild oat, etc., etc. So now we can tap this one more time. We can actually see all the lowest items. So if we tap it one time, we can see all the lowest items. So these are all the low items: taurine, cysteine, so amino acids, bacopa, that could be for clear thinking, but also could be for energy, and folate would give you lots of energy. But this is what I really want you to take home with you, okay? Everybody do this right now. See if I can go back to the top. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go down to our main whole tray, tap the plus sign, and now it says add top 50. We're gonna add that top 50, and then we're gonna press it again, plus sign, add the plus sign, and it says add the bottom 50, and we're gonna add the bottom 50. And so now our main whole tray, if we did it right, it should say we have 100 items in the main whole tray. We're going to tap this button right here, which takes us to the next screen that we need to go to in order to complete this. Right here, and we tap on this, and then we tap begin analysis at the bottom. And now they're practically done. All we had to do is go to general overview, top 50, lower 50, and then it gives us all the results that we need. We're going to tap this purple button right here, and we're going to tap high. And we're just going to select everything that's here is high, medium, and low. Wow, there's a lot of highs for him. And so we're going to tap this, and then we're going to set the timer for 1 minute, and we're going to bounce for a minute. You at home, you could bounce for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. The point is that you're done. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to think about what to add. You don't have to know anything else. All you do is add the top 50 items and the lower 50 items. Now, in order to hear a little bit of those tones, let's go ahead and change the whole microphone situation here. So hang in there. And then we're going to play the top 50. I'm sorry, the top 50 and the lower 50. We're playing the higher items. We're going to play it through the main microphone. That's what I was trying to say. And there's everything. Hopefully you can hear it coming through there. And we play that for a full minute, and then we'll look at the rectification percentage. But I really want all of you new users to know that is all that you need to do. I want you to not be stressed. I don't want you to be worried. You don't know this thing, how to get started, but it's like, it's so exciting. You want to avail yourself to everything that the genius can offer. And that is why I think that this this general overview, the top 50, the lower 50, that's the way to go so that you can gain confidence and start balancing right away. So right at the top, what came up for him was a lot of Chinese medicine points. And then we got some emotions, some things with mold, cordyceps, which is great. Cordyceps and ginseng, that's going to give you a lot of yang energy. That's going to give you a lot of positive, fabulous, like go, go, go energy. And so after 1 minute, he was able to get to 22% rectification. Let's go ahead and let's do a rescan. A rescan will take all of those 100 items and take us to a deeper level. So just for fun, let's do one rescan. And then that will bring us to what's up at the top is marjoram as I think it's an essential oil. And then a bunch of Chinese, he really resonates with those Chinese medicine points. It's really interesting. And then amla, that's another great adaptogen for him, really rich in vitamin C. How fascinating is that? We did lose the reflector for just 1 second. We'll bring it back in just a moment. So we're going to play that for another minute. While I'm playing that, we're going to answer your questions. Come on, play nice. That should come back. That's a reflector showing there we go. All right, so let's play the frequencies. And we're going to look at some of your questions and your comments. Yeah, same time tomorrow. Will you show us how to enter a new client into the genius? Okay. All right. All right, thank you for posting the YouTube link. Cheryl says, the Genius is a great tool, which should be in every household. I use mine daily with my Quantum Biofeedback system. Fantastic. Cheryl says, I use my Genius on my Android only without any Wi-Fi or internet data. Good for you, Cheryl. That's awesome. Fantastic. I love your comments and that you've brought lots of participation. I really do. I really appreciate that. Let's see, a lot of people are joining us from different parts of the country, and there was Lisa H said, does the genius require an internet connection? No, it does not require an internet connection. You can use it offline at any time. If you go offline and you're not connected to the internet, it'll give you a message that says it appears that you're using it offline. Now that's amazing. David just right now got to 62% rectification. So he's at 62%. That's wonderful. Let's go check and see how his aura has changed in that time. We're going to go back to the aura, and it lets us do a rescan. And I'm pretty certain that I did save this, but just so I know, let's go ahead and do that again so we can look at the ending aura and see how things are ending up. Then we're going to tie everything up with a bow, and I want you to try this tonight. Go back and do a couple maybe general overviews for yourself and someone else, and then it's going to be on the test tomorrow. No, just kidding. But I will ask you, what did you discover from your general overview? Whoa, that is so fascinating. We're going to look at the before and after picture here, but it's really interesting. Now, there is still some gray on the edges, and we probably could do a lot more for the adaptogens, but isn't it interesting how it kind of becomes more crisp and clear and things clear up? And now we've got two distinct colors. We've got that orange, which was more muddied before, and it's coming through more clear. So this is going to be somewhere between second and third chakra, which is coming through nice and clear. All that strong vital force coming through. Maybe those adaptogens were helpful. And then there's this really interesting energy. It does remind me more of pink. So there's more of this really strong spiritual energy coming through. I love it. It's so cool. Let's go ahead and let's look at the before and after. So we've got the before and we've got the after. We've got the before. See, it was kind of muddied or kind of muted, would be the better word, of the in the middle. And now it's coming through a lot stronger. And it's really interesting that it's really only two distinct colors, that bright, bright orange coming through, and then all of that crown chakra energy coming through. Well, it looks absolutely great. Let's go back to David and see if he had any thoughts about the information that were coming up, or just had any thoughts in general about balancing. Let's go back here and see him. So David, any thoughts as we were working on you? Any ideas, concepts?
No, it's it changes day to day. Yeah, I usually do it for 15 minutes when I run it on myself instead of just a short.
Very good. That's
Yeah.
excellent. That's excellent. Well, a lot of adaptogens came up for you. Things like cordyceps, which is very good for sort of having more energy, and amla, which is an Ayurvedic herb, which is rich in vitamin C. So I do think looking and searching into adaptogens, you know, and things for your adrenals, that could be really helpful for you. And it seems like you really resonate with them.
Okay.
All right, David,
Yeah,
thank you. Go
you're
right.
welcome. I have a friend that got me into this.
Oh, really? Who's your friend?
Her name is Asha Roberson. She's from Columbia,
Oh, I know
South
exactly who that
Carolina.
is. Yes,
Yeah.
Asha, thank you if you're listening. Thanks to her. Yes, she's in North Carolina. Thank you for sharing the genius with David. We're so grateful. I'm really grateful that you participated today and you're a cool part of our community. So thank you.
Well, welcome. Glad to be here.
All right, David, we'll talk to you soon. And thank you again. Thank you for joining. Like, that was really fun to have you be a part of this. And Asha, thank you for sharing the genius with David. We do have a really cool affiliate program where we give you a cash gift for sharing with other people. And so in our affiliate program, we'd love for you to join if you like to share with other people. But a lot of people like to share just because they're so excited about it. So it's like a bonus for them on top of just sharing with other people. Okay. So I would love it if you guys go back to whatever you're doing, and today at some point do a scan and do that general overview scan. I'm going to be asking different people at the beginning of class tomorrow, what was your experience doing that scan? Did you discover anything interesting? And you can see, I just want to see maybe for just to call out some things, because remember, these, we didn't think about this scan. This came up from the top 50 and the lower 50, and he told us in no uncertain terms that he wanted to have more energy. And look, ginseng, that's a great adaptogen. Rhodiola, another adaptogen. And I think there was one, well, Bacopa amla, there we go, amla, another adaptogen, very rich in vitamin C. So I find it fascinating that a lot of things for energy came through in the scan, even though we didn't look for anything. We didn't use our brains at all. We just chose the top 50 and then the top ones in the Progressive Insights. So please do that. Let me know how it was. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Thank you for being part of our Genius community. You can go to my YouTube channel at Ariel Policano on YouTube and you can watch this again, or you can see all of our other videos on the Genius. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Take care. Bye-bye for now.